Oh, hey, there we go. Press the unmute button, Mark. G'day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's Going On in the Shed, episode 101. Back to the basics. That's what I called it. But um, it doesn't always get this basic. But anyway, let's make a bit of a camera adjustment here. You might have known a little bit less hair on top. Mrs. Shed Talk gave me a haircut this afternoon. It's pretty warm here. As you can see, I'm wearing a singlet, and I've already been up to a little bit in the shed just before we went live. And what have I been doing this week in the shed? Well, I've been doing a few things, actually. We've been making some nuts, brand new nuts from scratch, out of raw material or leftover material, scrap bit of material, whatever you want to call it, bar stock, whatever it was. I have actually filmed a video. I haven't sat down and edited it or anything like that. But these threads are 5/8 Whitworth. These are for the steamroller. For those of you who don't know, let's go over to the talking head, and you can see a great view of a water bottle there, and some bloke on a computer talking about what's going on in his shed, episode 101, learning the basics. I don't know what basics he's going to be talking about, but anyway, let's turn that off for a second. Playing with his nuts, well, quite possibly. Yeah, that's it, Cody. Yeah. Righto, so on to more serious business. Those of you who are new in the chat, most of you know that I'm restoring this steamroller, built in 1926 by John Fowler and Company in England, exported out here to Australia, and we've been working on this steamroller for the last almost 8 years. Coming up Easter, the Easter long weekend is when we brought it home 8 years ago, so since then we're doing a major rebuild. It's been an interesting journey, met some interesting people along the way, and some people like Emma and Peter and all the others you see in the chat here, and have been helping me out in one way or another, talking about different aspects of it and the restoration. And we've learned a lot. We've found a lot of information, and we've also had a lot of parts that needed to be remanufactured. Some of those we've been able to do ourselves, i.e. the nuts, small stuff like that. Other things we've had to contract out, obviously, because they are just beyond the scope of this workshop. As most of you know, I've got a lathe and a mill and a welder and all that usual guffin stuff that you can use. And it's helped me do a lot, and also my place of employment, they've helped me out over the time as well in terms of let's see no, I don't. Right, well, here's a photo of the roller in where it sat way before I even thought about owning a roller, and even before I got it. Sat in a park in a little place called Allera in Queensland. It's west of Toowoomba. It's all part of, it's been all soaked up into the Toowoomba Regional Council, or whatever they call themselves up there now. However, this roller was obtained, like I said, many years before I even thought of owning a steamroller. Went through a couple of hands, and since we've had it, we've invested our time and money to the restoration of this project. Currently, it's over there behind me, and in fact, we'll bring up another camera. No, we'll add in another camera. We can easily do that here. And a link, there we go. Before we get too carried away, let's take that off screen. Get me over here. That's the bench mill, lathe, whatever. And here's our camera controller. We'll swap that around. There it is there. And we'll go up. We'll give you a grand tour of the shed. There's a bandsaw and steel, a car, amazing. There's the other ute, the forklift, the milling machine, and that's the boiler of the steamroller there. Now, many of you have seen that, maybe the new people or people who discover this later on. We'll zoom out a bit there, that's why it's looking a bit tight. And you can just see me over there. That's the boiler of the roller. There's many other pieces leaning up against the shed there, and I'll grab some water so to lubricate the lips. Shaved. I have no idea what you're talking about, Peter. And we're in the process of doing various work on the boiler or on the roller itself. Obviously, when something like this stays outside without any cover over it, any protection, it deteriorates pretty quick, and we're having to deal with those issues. And those issues are very slowly coming to a close. We've still got some other work to do. It's one of those jobs. It's not a job. It's a hobby, and I do it in my spare time, maybe a bit too much of my spare time, and like a lot of us do. And it's a work in progress. That is for sure. So that's the nuts and bolts of it. And that's a good drink of water. Right, so we've got the mobile camera set up here. We'll go for a walkies in a second. We'll turn this other camera off. That one there. We'll turn him off. We'll lock it in Eddie, lock it down. And we'll turn our browser view back on. This is the camera. And we'll go for a walk and talk at the same time. It will get a little bit shaky. Now, I hope all of you can hear me all right. You haven't been complaining about the audio, so it must be okay. And we better grab a light so we can see things properly. Right, we're going for a walk. This is the tender. On top here is where you actually stand and operate it from when it's bolted to the back of the boiler here. Bolts on here. We've got the old chimney base and the new chimney base, and the tender obviously needs a lot of work. It's very well deteriorated, but let's go nuts and let's talk about the new nuts we've made. Hello. There we go. Oh, we got light. Righto. So these, hang on. Let's trade this for this. Yeah, got to make sacrifices in life, and the sacrifice is I've got to put the light somewhere else, and we'll put, actually I need one of my righto magnetic based lights. So much better because they do such a better job. And we'll just take a quick, that looks pretty good, that'll do. That'll get the idea across. I've just walked down here. Unsteady cam, that's the one, Bill. Wobbly bits. Well, it's no different to Emma's stream. The only difference is you got really good quality on my stream, and you haven't got, the tapping of the microphone like on Emma's stream. I think Emma needs to improve on that. Somebody might have to buy her a wireless microphone or something like that. It's all good. At least we get a grand tour of the shed that Emma's in. So this is where the blast pipe bolts on, and the old nuts, here we go, we're going to show you new nuts, old nuts. Oh no, I almost threw them away. No, we haven't got a breeze up here at all, Kerry. Unfortunately, it's quite stagnant up here. I put the old nuts in the box over here. I've got a box called leftover bits, and they've gone into there. But now because I've only sat them on top and they haven't fallen down to the bottom. These are the nuts that went on the blast pipe, and as you can see, as I did show, they've had a bit of a flogging in their life in terms of someone has got a chisel to them and chisel them off or chisel them on, mainly because where this is located, you can see the covers of the cylinders. It's in a pretty awkward spot and you really can't get a spanner onto it. However, you can get a socket onto it, and which I'll demonstrate right now. If I can find the right size, that'll do. 1.1 inch, it's a little bit big, but it'll do the job. So you can get a socket on there just. Hopefully you can see that okay. It's a bit hard for me to see. Oh yeah, you can see the socket. Or I can just pick it up and say, watch out for the wobbly bits, we're going to get closer. So there's a socket, you can get a socket in there. But you've also got the pipe on there as well. So it's a bit of a dog of a thing, to tell you the truth. And usually speaking, you don't take the blast pipe off unless you actually have to, or have to. Which one is it? Which English is it? So the new nuts are going to go on here perfectly. I could have reused the old nuts. I could have cleaned them up, spent a bit of time, maybe TIG welding them up and grinding them back and all that sort of thing. But I decided to make some new ones, and they're fairly easy to make. You do them on the lathe. You just run the correct size tap through, and then you take them over to the milling machine and do them on your indexing table, rotary table, and machine the hex on them. And these were a round bit of bar to start with, a little bit oversize, and as you can see, just put a socket on and they screw on nicely. I've also got the correct size spanners for these as well, and it's just one little less job to do. I'll probably need to run a die nut over the threads, as they may have accumulated a little bit of crap, but however, this one here screws on really nicely. So I'm really pleased with those, how they turned out, and everyone should go nuts and make some nuts if you're nuts. Right. So that was the nut job, or the nut job, doing the nuts for the new nuts, if you know what I mean. I'm going nuts. So here's a rotary table and the leftover shavings from where I was doing it. It's pretty simple operation. Here's a toolbox where the socket goes back into. It's sort of organised. We'll come back to that in a second. So essentially, you take a bit of bar stock like this, or round bar, or whatever you want to call it, and you drill and tap whatever size hole you want in there for the desired thread. You clamp this in here, and you make sure that you've got your centre, you've got this clocked up so everything's in line, and you put it in this thing, and you have it offset to whatever the desired size you're chasing, metric, imperial, whatever. And as you can see down there, or the operation, let's turn this on, let's turn some light on. That might be too much, that might be too much. That's probably better. I should have done that first. There you go, bit of light. Hang on, let's just, what are you naughty boys and girls? It was long ago when I first go nuts about steam. You're right, you're correct, Clinton. We all go nuts about steam. This is a little brake on here, so you undo the brake. As you might be able to see, I've got it set on 0 at the moment, and also this handle here controls how far we go around. So when making a nut, you want to go every 60 degrees, and you go around, find your 60 mark there roughly, and then you look down here on your dial, ooh, and you bring that around to 0, you lock it down, and you take your cut. You move this handle in, which moves the table over, and it machines one side of this, and you just keep indexing it around until you get your desired, what's the name? Desired diameter on your new nuts. So that's how it's done. It sounds simple, but it's a little bit labour intensive. Obviously, That's not how they make them in industry or mass produce them. It's just the way you can do it here in the home shop, and it certainly makes it quite easy, and it's actually pretty quick process once you get into it. Oh, that's water. It's good. Right, I keep slurping on the water. No shed dogs. They were down here earlier. I think they've gone upstairs with Mrs. Shed Talk, so they don't go running down to the gate and barking and blah, 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 blah. The other thing I have been working on is the repair of an eccentric. Now, this eccentric is off the steamroller Marion, the same one that was on the short video at the start there. There's always been a big chunk missing out of here. So I brought this home and decided to braze it up, and it sort of worked out. I thought it was going to work out better than what it did, so I've had to redo it a little bit. However, it's actually fine. It'll work perfectly. I also found another crack, so I brazed that up. So this is ready to go back on to the engine tomorrow night. We've done our usual summer washout. Now we're here in Australia. We do summer washout or our regular steaming. We have a break over Christmas, so that's when we do our maintenance. So you play catch up on little things like that. And so that's ready to go. It's just a little bit of a clean up here and there, and put it on the engine, just make sure it turns over, oil it all up, all that sort of thing. And we're good to go for our first steaming day in February, coming up in February. So there you have it. And this pin here, this bit of steel bar there, which I'll show you in a second. Now, I should have warned you. Right, toolbox, another toolbox. A couple of things to show you. Right, the old Milwaukee right angle die grinder here. Absolute perler of a machine. If you need one of these, in fact, I'll set it up. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. My display model didn't quite. If you ever need one of these, I highly recommend them. They are a fantastic bit of gear. Now, if you match it with a burr like this, these burrs are absolutely incredible. They will chew through just about anything. Carbide burr, and this particular one has these beautiful teeth on the bottom. Essentially, you could use it in a milling machine to get out, say, a broken tap, something that's hard. These are carbide, so carbide's pretty hard. You'd have to go gentle because these carbide burrs, what happens, they do chip over time. But even when they do chip, I've got one that's a bit worse than this. In fact, just stay there and I'll go get it. I'll show you what I mean. Oh, Nightbot's in the... Nightbot's doing its thing. Right, here's another carbide burr, which has done a lot of work for me. And as you can see, I have chipped it at the front. However, that hasn't stopped it from working, and it's got this same cutting edges down the bottom there. Hopefully you can see that all right. But these things, they're just fantastic. They, they will almost eat through. They will almost eat through pretty well anything. Obviously, they spray a lot of fine particles around, but for what they do, it's just fantastic. So it's basically like a big dentist drill. And if you're in a situation where you need to repair something, you can easily get in and just sort of go like that. And in fact, I'll do a little demo just on that bit of steel in front of us, for instance. Just to give you an idea. Now we'll just have a look. And that's that little section I've done. Obviously it didn't take much off. You can be as gentle or as sort of demanding as you want with those things, but it was certainly flying off little slivers of stuff, and yeah, you can really rip into steel, especially the softer metals like brass and so on, but even steel like this, it's no match for it. So moving right along, we've got these 2 bits of steel here. Now, this is a pin off the steamroller Marion at Old Petrie Town. We've had that pin in there for ages. However, we have this new pin, which we're going to turn into a proper pin. We've got a copy of the original drawing from Aveling and Porter, how a pin should look like. So it's got to go down to this diameter, which is like 1.38" or something like that, whatever it is, 35, yeah, 35.5 is, let's have a look on the conversion chart, 35 point, yeah, 1.38", yeah. 35 millimetres is 1.38". So there's got to be a section that's got to be turned, I think it's about 8 inches long, that's got to be turned down to 1.38", and then you spin it around, and the rest of it is tapered. And then that taper gets bent around so that where this pin goes in, it goes in behind the water where you fill the water of the tender. So it's not hitting against anything. So that way we'll have a proper drawbar pin. And this is 4140 steel. It's a little bit oversized. It's about 58, 57 mil diameter, so it's a little bit bigger than 2 inch. So yeah, a bit of machining to do, but nothing that can't be done. We might start getting that set up tonight actually, and we'll go over to the lathe. I'll reset up over here, and in fact I'll do a couple of different views. I think we'll put that on charge, and hey, look, we'll have a hey, Bill, you made a video. Everyone, Bill's just posted a video on YouTube, so go check that out. Bill Baggins, just search for his name on YouTube, or Peter, if you want to put a link to his video in the chat here, everyone can go and check it out. Well, you've got me in 3 screens. I think we can turn one of those off. We'll turn that off and just leave this one on here. Zakau, g'day, mate. Thanks for being here, Zakau. Appreciate the support. Now the bench cam, that's over there. Let's spin that right round. You spin me right round, and we'll go back this way. Thanks, Peter. I've also, Mrs. Hang on, what have I got to do? Oh, no, I think I've gone. I'll just spin that around real quick, actually, because it's a bit of a bugger. Let's get that over here so we get a bit of a wide angle view, and I'll take the spider's webs off, because the old spiders, they like to build in various places. All tiny little spiders, nothing big or anything like that. So actually, Peter, here's for you, mate. Bit of angle shot for you, Peter. How's that? Right, so we've got the lathe on the bench cam there, and so I can spin that around, obviously. And Emma, if you're still in the chat, I've still got your little telescopic gauge there. Hang on, let's get this. Emma, if you're coming, you said you were coming up. That's your telescopic gauge that fell out before Christmas. Emma, don't forget to pick that up. Peter, remind Emma, please. Bill, remind Emma to pick up the telescopic gauge that she dropped in the driveway before Christmas, and I might have to put some WD-40 on that for you, because that's a little bit funny. So everyone in the chat, remind Emma to pick up her telescopic gauge when she comes up this way next, or I'll meet her somewhere and give it to her. Right, Emma's got stuff to bring too. So, all right, but you know, we get talking and we keep forgetting about that. So everyone remember. Thanks, G. Even the lurkers, I don't mind the lurkers. If they want to watch, I don't mind. Oh, good water. Well, hello to the lurkers too. Thanks for your views. I appreciate it. The gauge, telescopic gauge, because, okay, so this is for measuring inside a piece of pipe or a hole on a lathe, or whatever. It could be a bore, it could be a number of different things. Can I show an example of how we would do that? And they're very accurate too. You work them in conjunction with a micrometer. Right. Okay. This is a micrometer, a fairly big one. This is 0 to 100. Michitoyo, Japanese. Absolutely fantastic bits of gear. The anvils here are interchangeable, so I can go right down to, what do we go up to? We can go right to I think it's from 25 millimeters right up to 100 millimeters in terms of distance. And you would use this like that, measuring your hole diameter if you're doing a hole of this diameter, which is roughly about 1.5 inches or something, anywhere from sort of that size, which is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches or something like that, whatever it is. Meet up and give it. That's it, Bill. Yes, you can buy. They need to like the rules. Okay. It's all view hours. So yeah, everyone, tell Emma not to forget her telescopic gauge when she comes and picks it up. I'll probably forget. I think I've forgotten already. There you go. But fantastic bits of gear, and you know, we've got a bit of everything in here. We've got enough of what we need to get us in and out of trouble, maybe out of trouble or something like that. And so I'll put that up here near the lathe. We've got the little magnetic, and that's where it's been for the last, I won't say 100 years, but a fair amount of time. Right, well, let's jump over to the lathe. Right, there you go. Here we go. Nightbot, geometry, you can't fake it. No, you're absolutely right, Bill. Go have a look at the pyramids. There you go. Can't fake that. Now, for anyone's interested, recently I watched a video from a guy called Jeffrey Drum. Now, he's on YouTube, and he has a YouTube channel called The Land of Chem. And he spends a lot of his time in Egypt and other times going around the world. Now, his hypothesis for the pyramids in Egypt, and the Great Pyramids and so on and so forth, his theory is that they are essentially a very early version of a modern day chemical processing plant. He did an interview on the Danny Jones podcast. I think the first one's about 3 hours and the second one's almost 2 hours or 2.5. And he goes through the whole process. And he also backs it up with evidence. And he's got a lot of links to various papers that have been written. And I tell you what, I think after looking at all his evidence and what he proposes, I think he's actually on the money. So the pyramids are not burial chambers. They're actually a chemical processing plant, very early version. Obviously, everyone's got their own ideas and interpretation on that, but go watch his videos and you may be convinced about what he's talking about. Righto. Now I've got to go to intermission. We'll be back in a minute.
They're going to go that in though? Yeah, probably it is. Oh no. They're stuck. Oh, you're getting bogged. That's what I wrote to We might just go around the long way. What do we go around that way? Make it? Yep. Got it. Yeah, I got it.
think again, think again, think again, think again.
That's good there, Dan.
Well, hello, we're back from our little intermission there. I had to run upstairs and grab some OJ, full thing of OJ in the old Mandalorian cup with some ice. I'll smash that down. Yeah, Emma's, that particular steamroller that was towing that other engine, Emma has done some sign writing on it and done an absolutely wonderful job. That video was, we filmed that at the National Rally. We had the perfect weather conditions, although it was very dry and dusty, but we managed to get through it. Really good event, very taxing, but anyway, nevertheless. All right, let's go back over to the, oh, excuse me. Let's go over to the old lathe and let's do a bit over there. Right. Oh, excuse me. So since our eccentric is all good, and I just need to put it back together very quickly, after a little bit of a cleanup, maybe in some solvent or something like that, I am going to put this in the lathe. And we're going to start machining this. We're going to find the drawing. Now, probably for the obvious and for the newbies, well, that's running all right. Actually, no. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Excuse me, spider web. Right, let's get the right tool for the job. Here we go. Lock that down. Righto, so I'm using this as my dial gauge. And it's sort of, it's touching there, so that's the high spot. So there's the high spot, roughly. Let's get a little knockometer. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that, folks. There we go, bit of a tap there. Actually, that's running pretty good. Now I'll do that up nice and tight. Righto. Probably going to tempt fate here, but what I'm going to do, now normally you wouldn't have anything sticking out this long and machine it, because if you bite into that, it could bend up, break the tool, all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to give it a run and see how it goes. I'm going to turn the lathe on. It's not too bad. The only reason why I wanted to is because I want to put a centre in the end so I can put the lathe centre in and have it supported while I machine it. Righto, so we're taking really light cuts. Like bugger all. And that's machining pretty well. So I'm going to keep going at that. So I can clean this end up. She's just about there actually. I'll just take one more cut. I can. I can actually hear the vibration. Now, many years ago, I saw a bloke do virtually exactly this. Like, well, I'm talking many years ago. He'd put this, was at a place where they were doing injection moulding, and they would put a piece like this, maybe a bit bigger, 4-inch diameter or something like that, in the lathe chuck, and they had a radius turning tool, and it was sticking out about this much, and they would just return the radius on the end. And when I first saw him doing it, I thought, my God, this thing's going to fly out, and it didn't. Obviously, he done it that much. He knew what he was doing. He was only taking light cuts, and yeah, got the job done. Righto, so we've got our centre. We've put a bit of lubrication on, a bit of oil, and we're machining the centre. Thought I'd seen things then. Machining the centre of the piece. Right, let's stop that. Take that out. That's enough. What's our chat saying? Do we also get Yahtzee to Healing Mill? Clinton, if you've probably seen Emma's roller. Emma's roller used to be at the club at Old Petrie Town before Emma brought it, and I've done a few videos on it. And if you look at Emma's spare room machine shop, you'll see videos of her roller on there. And Emma, if you want to put your link to your channel in there, same with UG. Cody, if you want to put yours in, mate, you're most welcome to. Righto. So I've gone and selected our live centre. Now we've got that faced off, and righto. So the only disadvantage so to speak, with this lathe is that the digital readout, is that, yeah, that's pushing back. Right, I need to tighten up. I need to get my hand under there and tighten that up. So let's get a glove on. The tailstock here, when I put the clamp on here, actually, let's get it a bit closer. The tailstock, it's actually moving. So what happens with these, the nut on the bottom actually works loose over time and it doesn't become as effective as it should. So a slight adjustment and make sure that's nice and tight and everything's locked up. Now, so with having the tailstock onto the workpiece, we've got a lot more support. But in saying that, the downside of these smaller lathes is that you can get vibration when machining sort of out in this area. And I'll give a bit of a demonstration on that and see if it's going to do it. So I'm just touching off with the tool. I'm going to set my 0. I just checked my travel speed, that's pretty good. I'll take a 2mm depth of cut. And as you can hear, that vibration comes in. And the vibration does a couple of things. It's no good for the machine. It puts extra wear on the tool. And yeah, it makes it difficult to machine. I've gone through this before, and what a lot of people do with their lathes, especially ones like this, is they will do up the adjusting keys here, so to take any slop out of stuff, and to help reduce the vibration. Let's tighten that up a bit more, actually. What you can't see, in fact, let's go over to the old talking head. Here's the talking head, but we're going to turn on the, where's our browser? Come on. Oh, come on, turn on. There we are. Here we are. We're going to get the old wandering camera while I take a sip of juice. Right, sorry. Little side note, with the milling machine here, I've got the old camera, I've reinstated the old camera. Mrs. Shed Talk suggested this, and I can actually have this camera set up and pointing down and looking at things directly when I'm on the milling machine. So a view like this won't be as crystal clear because the old video camera here, as good as it is, and it says it's HD, it's about 15-year-old. It still works, still does a fairly good picture actually, but you can definitely notice it in when it's on. But anyway, it's another camera. It's something I can use. Righto. Let's get some light so we can see what we're doing. Hang on, we go for a wander again, kids. And Mark's travelling camera wobbly bits. Righto, so we've got the old light there, and we're looking right here on the lathe here. This is the tool post. This is what they call the compound slide. This here is the cross slide, so it goes across, They call it a compound because you can undo these bolts here and turn it to a particular compound angle. There's degrees here. You can go up to 50 degrees either direction, and use it to machine a taper. However, what a lot of guys do, I've seen quite a few guys on YouTube, they take this particular compound off and just put a solid block of steel on there, and that makes this whole setup more rigid. Of course, the only drawback is that you can't then machine a taper. However, in saying that, the amount of times you're actually machining a taper on a lathe is probably not much, unless you're in that sort of thing doing it all the time. So by turning this screw here, that pushes in further and makes this key go in further and makes it, theoretically, is supposed to tighten things up. And I have been turning that and nothing's been happening. So I might just do some more adjustments. Let's go here. Let's get that right angle. I'll have a play with this because this is a problem I've had before. And when I'm out here like this, we have to go so far out on the tailstock because we've got the cover for the digital readout. The digital readout, the glass linear slide is just under this cover. So therefore, we're out another, what are we? Another 50 mil easy. Yeah, we're out another 75 millimeters or 3 inches. Normally, in this situation, the tailstock is up here or very close to the cross slide, and therefore giving it more support. So the other option I could do is temporarily take this off and just see by moving this further in to see if I get that support and reduce the amount of vibration. That's another thing I could do too. However, the idea is that by turning this screw like so, should tighten up this slide here. And that has made a difference, but I feel it should be doing a bit more than what it actually is. And that is quite hard to turn. Right, so that's a lot firmer. As you can see, it can still slide up and down. I can still move it up and down. And let's do a cut and see if that makes any difference. Put our torch over there. We're going to leave the camera set up there for the righto. Right, the old orange juice is pretty good. Oh, new subscriber, Ed's Garage. Well, thank you, Ed, for subscribing to the channel. Now I'll just take a 1 mil depth of cut and see what sort of. We're still getting the vibration. The other thing we can do is reduce the speed. And like I said, I've been through this before. No. Righto. Option number 2. Let's do what I said. Let's take that linear scale off temporarily and see if we can bugger me. Right. Oh, excuse me, folks. So if we take the linear scale off temporarily, come on, get out of there. We can get that tailstock closer. Oh, let's get that out of the way. Oh, that's probably better. Right, let's get the crap out of there. Probably about time for some new screws in there anyway. So this is going to no way affect the performance of the machine, except to prove a theory, and that's whether or not this is going to help reduce the problem. Right, I'll just get this cleaned up and I'll show you. And we'll go for a quick wobbly tour. Oops, told you it was a wobbly tour. So this is a linear scale here. It's a glass scale. There's plenty of videos on YouTube about these things. Let's get this out of the way. Let's get the tailstock out of the way. And they're just held on by a couple of grub screws. This is the thing that does the reading as it slides up and down. So there's a couple of Allen keys in there, socket-headed cap screws, I should say, in there. So I'll just get those. And as you can see, by taking that off and then taking that aluminium plate off, because that aluminium plate just sits there, we'll be able to get that much closer. So the tailstock is further back in and gives us more support. Now this is going to be a slippery little sucker, and I'm just going to try and pose you there like so. It's a little bit funny, but that's the way it's going to be. And as you can see, I can just take out these cap screws. Like so. And the linear scale can move up and down. The digital readout came fitted with the machine. Oh, cat fight. However, the... come here. Hang on, I've got to go chase the dogs. No, come here. Come here with me. Come on, with me. Come here, you. Come on. Here we go, car ride. Right, in you go. Right, one child in there. You, come here. Come on. Come here. Right, settle down. So Shed Dog 2 loves car rides. So as soon as you open the door, he wants to jump in. Shed Dog 1, who used to be young and loves car rides too, but she's a bit slower than what she used to be. Alan, yeah. I don't know. Good question there, Bill. If you can help me answer that, I'd be happy to know. Right, a bit more juice, and away we go here. Now, with that loose, I now have to oh, that's right, I've got to undo those two right in front of me. Trains are blowing their horns and cats are fighting and all that wonderful stuff. So we just undo these two bolts. Cap screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them. And these are just bits of aluminium I'm taking off at the moment. With that all free, in fact, I'll keep that all together, the spaces and so on. That all just lifts off like so. And looks like the, okay. I think I might have a bigger problem here than what I realise. All right, everything's going to fall. So taking this off has done a couple of things. It's made me realise I think I've got a problem with my linear scales. And the reason why I say that is these bits here are the protective plastic bits that are just falling apart, okay? And they're to stop the crap getting inside the linear scale. However, the crap, I'd say the crap's got inside the linear scale, and that's why it doesn't want to read properly. Right, so correct me if I'm wrong. Emma, you might be able to help me out with that. I think I'm... So that could be a problem with my linear scales, why they're not working properly. Anyway, looks like I'll have to... I'll just put that down there for the time being. We've still got this plate to come to get off. And having that digital readout there, the other thing I've never been able to do, or I've had to take it off, is this here has an oil point right there where my finger's pointing. And I've never, well, it's not that I've never been able to get to it, it's just difficult to get to. So while I've got the opportunity, and if I get this right, I'll get some oil into that slide. Now it looks like we got to, is that attached to that? We're going all the way here. We're going to, right, so we've got to go the next size up. Stylesy, g'day mate, how are you? Yeah mate, yeah, going a bit longer tonight mate. Thanks for being here. I thought you still would have been at work. Oh, they're fairly tight. Well, it sounds like those cats are still going for each other. Hey, come here. Right. No, come here. Hey, Grizzle Guts. See, I don't have to worry about the other one because he is in the car. And when he's in the car, he's quite content. He's a pretty cool cat, actually. Sounds, and I think the way Shed Dog 1 is reacting, those cats are close by. A couple of feral cats maybe. Righto, so this is the, right. Probably didn't have to take that one off, but it's not going to hurt anyway. And there's a couple of, no, next size up. A couple of cap screws under there. And the other thing is, you may notice, you can see it there, once we, there's a bolt, a cap screw. So that's stopping the tailstock going any further forward. Now, I'm going to take that off as well. Oh, that's right, doesn't want to play the game. And the reason why we're taking that off, there we go, is because it's stopping us going any further in. And it's only there to stop you smashing the tailstock into the linear slide. Right, so here we go. Ever onwards and upwards. There's always one problem to be solved, another one just around the corner. So we'll see how this goes. I know it's getting late for some of you guys. It's just after 8:30 here in my part of the world. And this has been an interesting exercise, actually. Let's take all of that off. And to be totally honest, I really don't use the digital readout that much. I do a lot of the machining I do, I just do it manually. However, knowing what I know now, it's going to be another avenue to go down to resolve an issue that I've obviously been having for a while. And there's a few groups on Facebook relating to machinists and machining, so I might be able to get a bit of help there. Yeah, meow, woof, yeah. And here begins the next. Yeah, absolutely right, Peter. Yeah, absolutely right. Now, I've got to give a shout out to the members of this channel. And they're people like Cody and Peter and Funk and Hungry and quite a few others that I've probably forgotten. The members are fantastic people and help support what I do here. And if you'd like to become a member, you can. Just click on the membership there. And you get some custom emojis and all that sort of stuff. And of course, you can talk to me at any time. Right. Okay, so this is sort of... Right, so that's going to... Right, everything's a bit stiffer. Let's get the wobbly cam and I'll show you the difference. Now, as you can see, the tailstock is way closer. It's further in, it's not so far out, all that sort of stuff. So everything's a lot closer. I'm going to give it a run and see what happens, see if the magic happens, whether we get bad vibrations or good vibrations or no vibrations at all. I don't think this might reduce the problem. I still think it may be here going, like I said, going by what I've seen on other people's videos on these smaller lathes, the way to do with this area here. So anyway, right, I'm going to put this down here, plug it back in. I'm going to switch cameras. Whoa, we're on the wobbly bits again. Right, so let's go. So I'll turn the browser off, and no, we want that one. There we go, just a live view. Oh, that orange juice is great. A Nightbot. If I need that sort of precision, I find another way that needs less. Yeah, Bill, I hear you. I hear you. Righto, so we're going to see what happens. Like I said, we're a lot closer. Let's just see what happens. Well, it's better. I won't say it's worse. I've increased the feed. That hasn't made any difference. See if taking a deeper cut helps. Righto. Right, so that's not working. All right, well, a little bit disappointed in that. I thought that would have resolved the issue, but obviously not. Okay, time to think. And that time to think is maybe later on for Ron. Later on, we'll leave that for Ron. I'll make Ron. Everybody's got a mate called Ron. Stylesy saying hello to Nightbot. Well, I was picking up bad vibrations, Peter. Puller Bag Ed's Garage has just followed us or subscribed to us or whatever it is. Right, Puller Bear. Not polar bear, puller bear. Well, there you go. That's interesting. Might have to go have a look at that channel. Thanks, Puller Bear, if you're watching. Thanks for being here. I do a live stream every Thursday night, 7:30 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. None of this daylight saving business wacko stuff. Here I am on the live stream. Big. Everyone's saying hi to Nightbot. Look, righto, so I've got a few issues to sort out, like, don't we all? And I think I'm going to wrap it up at that. We've been going over a little over an hour now. So I'd like to just say thank you very much for being here and tuning in on the live stream. I do put out videos from time to time. And if you get a chance, please go and watch them or go back and watch some of the older content or something like that. Next week, we've got a long weekend this weekend here in Australia. Monday's a public holiday. It's Australia Day long weekend. So 3 days of doing stuff at home, and for that I'll give up. Yeah, Bill. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate your support, and say good day to everyone else. Go check out some other channels on here, and thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Whistle.